Well then, who's on first?
Yes.
I mean, the fella's name.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who?
The guy playing first.
Who is on first?
The guy playing.
What's the name of the guy playing first?
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
No, actually, Martin Maldonado was playing first base today, and we'll talk about this and more on today's episode of the Locked On Astros podcast.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. You can find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
All right, before we get started on the show, let's take a brief moment to remember J.R. Richard. This is a guy that was actually pitching before I was even born. It's not really a guy I really got to see pitch in real life. I did get to meet him and at a few of the fan fests, and I actually got his autograph. And I did talk to him about coming on Locked On Astros or Talking Stros, whatever it was at the time. But this was a guy that was really dedicated to coming to every fan event. And apparently Enos Cabell on the thing today said that he actually died of COVID. So, and it kind of got a little bit political on there. So I don't go into all that. But J.R. Richard was a all-time Astros legend. If it wasn't for his stroke, he probably would have made it to the Hall of Fame. And I believe he was 71 years old. So this is a guy that a lot of Astros fans will miss. This is growing up in a dome. A lot of people watched him pitch. So this we'll talk more about him later. But guys, so yeah, it's just a sad moment for Astros fans, and especially after everything that all the names that we've lost over the past couple of years. It's just kind of sad to see this happen. But guys, I know we did a Spotify green room yesterday, but guys, make sure whenever we do one of these Spotify green rooms, you listen. It's changing the way we talk sports. And guys, thank you for subscribing to us on YouTube, but keep on subscribing. We want those numbers to go up. We're trying to reach 5,000, maybe even 10,000 before the end of the season, but we can't do that if y'all don't go out over there and subscribe on YouTube. So go subscribe, continue listening to Locked On Astros on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, listen to Locked On Astros podcast. And even when the Astros lose, we're still going to be doing this podcast. So,
Exactly.
First?
Well, I just want to chime in a little bit on J.R. Richard. Since you led with that, I watched the pregame press conference with Dusty, and he said that when J.R. Richard was pitching, that people were literally afraid to face him. That when Dusty was on the other team, he said they had two catchers that came in. One came in with an arm sling and one came in with crutches. And he goes, they called it JR-itis. And it was a disease that sprung up whenever J.R. Richards showed up in town. And the manager literally had to have a team meeting and said, one of these two guys is catching. Neither one of them wanted to play that day because they didn't want to face J.R. Richard. And actually, Dusty hit a home run off of him, but most of the time he struck Dusty out. And so Dusty Baker considered him a great friend, and he was a legend. In his story, if you know about his story of his rise and fall in the major leagues with the stroke, and then eventually ended up homeless and then being rehabilitated and found and rescued. He was literally found living under a highway here in Houston near the Astrodome whenever they found him, and he was rehabilitated, and the Astros family embraced him. He's in the Astros Hall of Fame. So it's just a great story, his life of struggle and triumph and tragedy and victory over and over. So it is definitely a difficult time for the Astros family. But, this is life, and we get to talk about all the good things that happened in his life. And there were a lot of people that I know that grew up watching him, a little bit older than me, but definitely a legend that's career was cut short. Like you said, outside of the stroke, he gets to the Hall of Fame easily if his career isn't shortened.
Thoughts by Dusty.
All right, Dusty Baker on JR. You mentioned a few of them, but he said, boy, a lot of legends are leaving. Jimmy Wynn, Bob Watson, Joe Morgan, and now JR. And that was the first message I got from Enos Campbell. And also Dusty Baker on JR Richard. I don't have many friends as pitchers, but he was one of them. And so he also said that the thing about his size, the plate was 60 feet, 6 inches from the mound, but JR is throwing like from 50 feet because he was so tall. He was all legs. You didn't have much time to make up your mind. Plus, he was a little bit wild. He's the toughest guy I ever faced, and we faced him all the time. And J.R. Richard had a 107-71 record with a 3.15 ERA with 76 complete games. Think about that. 76 complete games. That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
He won 18 or more games in 4 straight seasons from 1976 to 1979. I was born in 1978. In fact, in 1978, he became the first Astros pitcher to reach 300 strikeouts in a season with 303, a record he broke in the following season with 313 strikeouts. So J.R. Richard was a legend. Even a Hall of Famer, Nolan Ryan, said that when he got on the mound, he was so big and threw so hard and had such a devastating slider that right-handed hitters found it very, very intimidating to hit off of him. And that's what you were alluding to earlier. So yeah. J.R. Richard was a great Astros legend, and unfortunately, he's gone from this world.
Yeah. So I think one of the first things that we maybe talk about, and just go ahead and go straight to the end of the game, because we've already had a question about it. You and I were discussing it, is where was Carlos Correa in the 9th? And so, Eric, I had said to you after Martin Maldonado nearly got a hit. I mean, to his credit, he battled. That hit could have easily been a seeing-eyed single, but, Simmons has got great speed side to side. Why did you tell me that you wouldn't put Carlos Correa in pinch hitting in that position?
Okay, well, who's batting after Martin Maldonado?
Robel Garcia.
Okay, so then what would you do if you were the Twins? You would go ahead and intentionally walk Carlos Correa.
That's correct.
Robel Garcia. Because Robel Garcia is in a big slump. He is 4 for 48, including a 0 for 15 slump. Yeah. So Robel Garcia, I am jumping off the Robel Garcia fan club. You
were such a fair weather fan.
Tommy Hudson. He can go ahead and he's the next president. I just went ahead and announced you. I don't even know you, but you are the now new president of the Robel Garcia fan club. I'm annoying you. I'm no longer the fan. So anyway, but Martin Maldonado playing first base, that really that really got the Astros early in the game. That in the second inning, that ball got right by him. I know he made a diving effort, but that really hurt the Astros in the first inning. I know they call that a ground rule, not ground rule. Yeah, I guess the ground rule double because the ball got lodged underneath the outfield wall. But if I think Yuli would have made that play, I think Aledmus Diaz would have made that play. Abraham Toro would have made that play, but Martin Maldonado has not played first base in 7 years, I think since 2014. Well, he hasn't started a game since 2014. Last time he played at first base was in 2019. So you might be saying, why did Martin Maldonado do it and not Jason Castro, who has played some first base? I think that Martin Maldonado has a little bit more pull in the clubhouse. And I think that Dusty Baker said, okay, guys, I need one of y'all to play first base today. Who wants to do it? And Jason, they probably both raised their hand. And Martin Maldonado, Baker was like, well, I got to go with you, Martin, because you're our leader. So
hold on. You and I can't think like teachers on this, because that's kind of the snare that played in my head. I like to think of Dusty as having one of those wire round spheres with ping pong balls in it and with players' numbers, and him like cranking it, and then having Jose Altuve open it and say, whose name do you got on first?
Just say balls.
Martin Maldonado.
Or lottery balls, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so this lineup was curious to me. This lineup was curious to Jake Kaplan, I believe. Everybody. Was like, Chas
Everybody's
McCormick
like,
hitting
what are you
second.
doing? I know Yuli's out, and I know that this was a planned day off for Carlos Correa.
And they looked flat, Eric. I mean, let's hold on. Let's not take
I have some thoughts on this. You know what? But I think what would have helped would have been a Built Bar.
Oh, okay. So Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar in the business. It's wrapped in 100% chocolate. If you're all about health and getting in shape and staying in shape, then Built Bar is the place to go. Go to Built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your first order. They have this great new flavor called Grasshopper Cookie. It's basically their version of the Thin Mint. Whatever flavors you want, whatever you like, they probably have it. It's wrapped in 100% chocolate, 150 to 180 calories max, 17 to 18 grams of protein, only 5 to 6 grams of sugar or carbs in each bar. They are delicious, they are amazing, and they are healthy. Go to Built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15. That's the same discount that Eric and I get whenever we reorder. And you can actually get Built points, like these Built Bucks, and you can build up points for rewards to buy more stuff from the Built Bar Kingdom. Go to Built.com. Tell them HL Wheelhouse sent you. So,
okay,
go ahead.
So here's why the Astros lost this game, honestly. MLB scheduling a night game that started at 8:40 p.m. and it didn't end till midnight. The Astros did not get back to Houston until 9 o'clock a.m. this morning, and then they had to play a 7 o'clock game. I know other teams have to do this, but certain somebody was probably super excited after yesterday's home run off of Joe Kelly. And, he probably had a little bit cerveza, maybe.
Okay. Okay, hold on. You're going way off in the woods there. But anyway, I don't know if you could say that. Here is the thing. The entire so the off day for Correa was already planned ahead of time. Yeah, Dusty Baker said that before. But Dusty Baker, watching this, because I watched the conference in its entirety, he basically said, like, I went to bed. I didn't get to bed until 9 a.m. I woke up at 1. Right. Now, I don't know about you, but if I take naps during the day and I've got to do something in the evening, I am not as focused. And you have absolutely got to put the human element into this. Yes, I know we play down to bad teams. Yes, I know we've been playing 500 ball since whatever. But there are games like this that are going to happen. The emotion that it took to play in those 2 games in LA was probably like a 4-game series. Right. And having to take on all that hatred, like, I can't tell you how many countless videos I've watched of Astros fans, of these fans. And it's not just booing. It's not just fun stuff. It is like really awful, terrible stuff. It is like middle finger, F you. I mean, vehement, horrible. I mean, these people are nasty.
Did you see after the broadcast, what they were doing after the win yesterday? They were saying F Altuve on live broadcast.
Oh yeah, they're ruthless. Dodgers.
The people or the host were like trying to not smirk, and they're excited about that. I'm like, come on.
And so listen, I'm not making excuses. Okay, it's just like you and I going to work. We have to go to work every day, whether we're tired or not. We have to do our job. It's a little different when you're a professional athlete. You got 162 games and you go on that stressful road trip and you come back. So should they have won this game? Could they have won this game? Absolutely. But you have Yuli out. You have Correa out. You have Bregman still out. You don't have your full ball club. You have Robel Garcia and Martin Maldonado. That's part of your offense. You know, Chas McCormick did his job. But Chas McCormick, Eric, needs to stop swinging for the fences. He needs to swing level. He's swinging up on everything. He had 2 balls that he could have hit out of the park today.
He got 2 hits. Leave him alone.
He got 2 hits. But
Yeah.
Eric, his 2 pop outs that could have been home runs because he's swinging up too much. He's trying to get that trajectory.
The Astros had 5 hits. He had 2 of them.
Eric,
come on,
Eric,
cut him some slack.
The 2 home runs would have made a difference in the game. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, no, you're not wrong, but
no, thank you.
But Altuve went 0 for 4. Or I just think that you're right. They were not focused today, and I think it had to do with. I don't think it was the loss yesterday. I just think that it was just the long flight, them getting home late, and it just. I think tomorrow, with a good night's sleep tonight, they're going to be a lot more focused, and I think that they're going to be a little bit better. Yes, in the last 22 games, they are 11-11. They've struggled. We talked about starters ERA over the past X amount of games. It's not great. The bullpen's great now, but the starters have kind of gone downhill. I just think that starters have hit a brick wall because honestly, they've been kind of they've been carrying the team all season, and now they're kind of hitting a little wall, but that's going to happen. I think everything's going to be fine. Framber Valdez struggled in that second inning. That second inning reminding me of the 2015 Game 4 of the ALDS versus the Royals.
You brought up some bad memories.
It was like single after single after single. And
no wonder why you were sending me depressed texts. No, I'm joking.
It was just crazy. It like everything, like the first inning, I think Framber only threw 8 pitches. Third inning, Framber only threw, I don't know exactly how many pitches, but it was a 1, 2, 3 inning or something like that. But that second inning, for some reason, nothing went right for Framber in the third inning. He gave up those 4 runs. And if it wasn't for those front 4 runs in that second inning, the Astros probably could have won that game. That was a very winnable game.
Next time you feel like that, let me know. And this is your distress signal. Just send me a text. Brett, do not go to Academy. And I'll know exactly what you're thinking about, and I'll help you through that moment. Remember when I was driving to Academy during that Royals game and they ended up losing? You just let me know when you're having thoughts like that. I'll help you.
Yeah, I'm all right. So when Griffin Jacks pitches 5 1/3 innings against you and only gives up the 1 home run, that's not a great thing. That he kind of reminded me a little bit of Roy Oswalt for a little bit there. He just looked pretty dominant out there, and he didn't strike out anybody. But it just seemed like the Astros were just like popping and just ground ball, and it just seemed like they couldn't make any good solid contact against him. And I don't know why, but it was just weird that the Astros didn't strike out until Kyle Tucker did it, I think in the 7th inning or something like that.
Yeah, it was odd. And so this guy Jax, it's interesting. He's in the U.S. Air Force, and he's the first United States Air Force Academy graduate to ever make it to the major leagues. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
So salute to you, sir. But we don't like you because you beat our Astros. But the Twins threw out 5 pitchers today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitchers. 6. I'm sorry, Colomé was 6.
Yeah, Colomé had to come in and get the save.
Now, the one silver lining is we only used 3 pitchers tonight, so that's a good thing. Framber Valdez did go 6 2/3 innings, so you've got to find some of the positives. And
Javier's got to work on that control, dude.
Javier won't pitch now for a game or 2. I promise you that.
I know,
but control is a big thing.
Want him to go to the rotation, but if he's going to be walking 3 batters every 2 innings, that's not going to fly. If you want him to replace Jake Odorizzi in the rotation. And we'll talk a little bit about what Jake Odorizzi had to say after yesterday's game, since we did get a chance to talk about it yesterday. But overall, Framber pitched into the 7th inning today. He did what he normally does. He looked terrible in the 2nd inning, but then he calmed down. and he took care of things. So I'm not worried about the Astros. The Astros just weren't focused after that stressful series with beer being thrown at you and at fans and all the boo birds. I think, and coming back late, I just think that this was a game that there's just no focus. But tomorrow's game, I think, will be a different story. And I think that we'll see it much better. And I'm willing to bet on that at betonline.ag. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So betonline.ag, they are your sportsbook experts. They are where you get all your sports action. Baseball season, we know, is in full swing. The playoffs are we are on the heels of the playoffs. And if you want to go ahead and continue to place your bets on the Astros making it to the World Series, if you want to go with Ben Verlander's National League pick of the Brewers, go ahead and do that. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more rewards coming your way than if you pick the Dodgers, because they're not on anybody's radar. So if you are into NBA, NHL, UFC, whatever it is, before the next pitch of the next Astros game, go to betonline.ag. Use your laptop or mobile device. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore. Head to the website and sign up today and get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. 50% of your deposit will be credited to you. BetOnline.ag, your sportsbook experts. Use the promo code Locked On.
Yes, the schedule was actually released yesterday, and we talked about it in yesterday's podcast. And like the biggest takeaway was the Astros would be playing a lot of the NL East versus the NL West. So you're not going to see the Dodgers, the Giants,
Thank God.
Yeah. So we'll be renewing some of that old rivalry versus the Braves, like we used to have in old days. And then also opening day, we'll have a off day afterwards. So we'll have some of those situations and stuff like that. But the Astros are going to be playing 12 straight games versus teams with non-winning records.
Yeah, definitely. So Eric, they're wanting to know about Yimi Garcia, what we think about him. I know that I'll have to look it up, but the Astros relievers that they picked up before tonight have actually done a very, very good job. And if I can pull up those game notes, I will do that. I think the relief pitchers have done well. They're not gonna be lights out and shut out every inning, but considering what we didn't have before we got them,
Right.
I think they're doing well. And so, Eric, what do you think about Yimi Garcia? I'm going to see if I can find these notes on these relief pitchers, because there's some specific stats to share with the people.
Well, I think that he's still going to be I think he's somebody that Brent Strom is going to really work on, and he's really going to refine his tools. He's already a good closer. He's got, I think he came with us with 15 saves, and he's got a good spin rate. So I think the Astros will be able to bring out his best. And so a lot of what the Astros have done, though, is they brought in a lot of one inning relievers. And what the Astros don't seem to have is that mop up guy, the long inning guy, like you bring in if you have somebody struggling.
Yeah, so these four pitchers: Yimi Garcia, Kendall Graveman, Phil Maton, Rafael Montero, they've combined for a .0. Now this is prior to tonight's game, a .84 ERA. That's one earned run in 10.2 innings pitched with 12 strikeouts and 9 appearances. You can't ask for much more than that. They've actually done a very good job. I think they fit in nicely. I think it's a good move. I think it works out well for the Astros in a short series and a playoff series. So overall, they've done exactly what you brought them over here to do.
Yeah. And think about it. If Odorizzi does make the playoff roster, he would be that mop-up player. He would be that guy to kind of, let's say that Zach Greinke or somebody gives up 5 or 6 runs in the first inning. You bring in Odorizzi to kind of just get you through the rest of the game or something like that. So that would be Odorizzi's role if he makes the playoffs. And we'll talk about Odorizzi in a second. Alex Bregman was not in the Sugarland Skeeters lineup today. Don't worry about it. It's just it was a planned day off, and so he should be back in the lineup tomorrow, and that means or today, and that means he's expected to play 2 more games. So that means he likely won't be back with the Astros until Sunday or maybe even Monday. So I think they're being very cautious. And it was very good to see Jose Urquidy back at Minute Maid Park. And he played catch on the field pregame. Pretty sure, and that he threw off the mound earlier today. So there's no update because I don't think the media really met a lot with Dusty Baker before game, and I think most of the talk was about J.R. Richard.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was about J.R. Richard. It was about Yuli. They asked about Bregman. Bregman actually posted on his Instagram account of him practicing running out of the batter's box, rounding first, going to second, things like that. So Bregman's running full speed.
Yeah.
They've just got to be careful because that's just one of those reoccurring nagging injuries that if you don't do what you're supposed to do with it, you can rush it back too soon. And so it's just the Astros in the end are going to be fine. I honestly don't think that the Astros lose grip of the West. Now, someone did say on Twitter, I don't mind Astros losing here or there, but I don't want them to make it too fun of a end of the season, meaning I don't want them to make it super competitive to where, because the last series, Eric, is here against Oakland. And although it would be exciting for fans, you don't want that pressure the last 3 games to make you or break you for the division title. You want to cement it. This month is prime time for them to distance themselves because Oakland just isn't going away. I mean, they were off today, so that was good. You didn't lose that. Hopefully they lose tomorrow, and then we gain another game on them. But I guess, only time will tell with that.
All right, MJK Production said, mad respect for Vado's comment on Altuve. We haven't had a chance to talk about this on podcast, but on the Dan Patrick show, he said that the idea that the Astros were the only ones doing something wrong just baffles me. So, I mean, that's the same thing that we've been saying, and it just notice
he hasn't gotten any blowback from it because people respect Joey Votto.
He's gotten some blowback. I think people are. It depends on what you see on Twitter, but some people have been like, "Well, you think?" I think some people are going after him. Like, okay. Just because you're Joey Votto doesn't mean that you mean anything. At first, when I saw that, I thought it was Joey Gallo, and I'm like, "Wait, what? Joey Gallo said that?" But I'm like, "Wow!" Oh. But to kind of go off the AL West comment you said earlier. Something I saw from Brian McTaggart is the next time the Astros will face a team that's currently in the playoff picture is September 3rd through 5th, which is San Diego. So that's how far away, basically a month from now is the next time they'll play a team that's currently in the playoff hunt. So it's going to be a while before the Astros play a team. So if the Astros are really playing down to the competition, they got to get over that, and they got to get over that pretty quickly because they're going to lose a little bit of ground if they keep on doing that. So let's talk a little bit about Jake Odorizzi's start the other day, last night, or versus Dodgers, since we didn't really get to talk about what he had to say. And he said it boils down to mechanics. Ever since the All-Star break, my mechanics have been crap. Just makes my fastball flat, and that's what Mookie Betts said to Justin Turner. He was like, the ball's flat. And that's not something I have the luxury of having when I know what my strengths are typically, and that's opposite of what mine normally does. And he said he's been struggling with mechanics for most of the season. He doesn't know how to find a consistent arm angle, which causes him to lose power, and he yanks his fastball. If you noticed in the game, he kept on, especially to the right-hand hitters, he kept on yanking the ball. It'll go outside of the zone to the left of the plate, and he's rushing everything to the plate. And Odorizzi said, we've got 2 months until the end of the season. It'll be pretty critical 2 months just to get back that consistent feeling and just to feel consistency. And I love this comment from him. It sucks to suck. I pretty much got my blank kicked today. I'm a grown man. I can admit it and move on from it. That's pretty much all I can say today. It sucks to go through it, but I own up to it, and I'll work to improve it.
Yeah, so I think it's great for him. I mean, he is a professional and he knows exactly what's expected of him. Now, I mean, he's really not checking Twitter to see what all the people have to say about him. I was pretty down on him yesterday. But when he's saying things like to add, balls are running arm side on me and I'm yanking the fastballs, like you said, opening up too soon, a lot of things. And so mechanics are key. And a pitcher to recognize that and start working on it, let's get that fixed ASAP. And if he's seeing it, Strom is seeing it, everybody's talking to him. So I expect Odorizzi's next start for him to come out focused. And he's going to be motivated because, like he said, it sucks to suck. That's what you want. And he's highly reticent of it. And the Astros need guys like Odorizzi to get those things fixed because this isn't June. This isn't, April or May. This is August. We're in the dog days of summer. We're in the heat of a pennant race. And so it's important. But that's the thing. Pitching is all about mechanics. And Mike Stanton talked to us about that. He talked about the importance of Framber Valdez's issues are because of mechanics. And it's not as easy as going out there and just throwing strikes. It's not as easy as going out there and winning ball games. It's a lot harder than I think someone like myself or you or anybody else makes it look. You can be frustrated. He's frustrated. But I think someone like that, he's going to work to fix it.
All right. Yordan Alvarez hit that monster home run today. It was upper deck home run. It got the Astros within 2 runs for a second day in a row. But unfortunately, if you wait too late in game, you're eventually going to run out of time. And that's what happened. Versus the Dodgers, that's what happened tonight. So I know Jason Castro hit that home run earlier in the game too. And a lot of people are saying that Jason Castro shouldn't have been starting against the Dodgers with Odorizzi on the mound. If Maldonado was catching him, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that people just don't. Everything Dusty Baker is doing at this point when the Astros lose, people are going to have issues with. Every time you start Robel Garcia, they're going to have issues with. But at this point, until Alex Bregman comes back, until Yuli Gurriel's healthy, you don't have any choice. I see Larry the GM saying, well, why don't you bring up CJ Hinojosa from AAA? Well, you don't have an open spot on the 40-man roster. Yes, you could designate Robel Garcia for assignment, but there's something the Astros see. There's clearly something that
you do have Jones. You could have brought Jones up. I mean, I know he hasn't been great. I know but Larry's like, why do we need Garcia?
I don't think he has any options. So I'm pretty sure that you have to DFA him. So
I think
Garcia has utility-ness is why the Astros like him.
Garcia has the experience and he has the game time, not quality game time. But that's what I think. Yeah.
Josh Reddick was DFA today. I know a lot of Astros Twitter is like, let's go get Josh Reddick. Josh Reddick this year, he only played 151 at bats. He's batting .258 with 2 home runs. His OPS is .656. His OPS plus is 76. A average major leaguer is 100. So he's not having a great season. He is 34 years old. I mean, he's still not over his prime, but he's just not the same Josh Reddick that we wooed over.
He is over his prime. He's 34.
Well, I mean,
he's getting DFA'd.
He's not 40 is what I mean. He's not 40.
Well,
he's not.
I think his prime was probably
Pujols,
I think his prime was. I think he hit it in 2016, 2017. He hit his prime, and he's been on the decline ever since.
He can play center field. He can play both left and right field.
Well, my thing is
first base. But
my thing is, I kind of joked, hey, it'd be kind of cool to have Josh Reddick back, just because I liked him as a player. I liked the hustle he had. I loved his arm. I loved his glove. He was pretty much a non-factor at the plate towards the end of his Astros career. And man, you want to talk about getting the claws out. People freaked out. I cannot believe that someone would actually want to put him on the team and wasn't even being serious. But yeah, we got a lot of people out there that think they know a whole lot about a lot. And At the end of the day, to me, it was more of a thought of nostalgia, like missing him as like his personality, what he brings, just clubhouse presence, I think. Because they were like, well, hey, maybe we just let Josh Reddick play shortstop just for the heck of it because we're playing Martin at first.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I just,
Here's a thought I had earlier, and I think there's some playoff contenders out there or some other teams that know the Astros traded away a center fielder, and maybe they're like, hey, we don't want the Astros to potentially claim Josh Reddick, so let's go ahead and claim Josh Reddick just to block him. But I just don't see the Astros going and bringing Josh Reddick back. If they wanted Josh Reddick, they could have brought him back this offseason.
If that was the case, if that was the case, he would have never been DFA'd. Well, he doesn't have any value apparently because he got DFA'd. I mean, the Diamondbacks aren't any good.
Okay,
the Diamondbacks aren't any good.
The Diamondbacks are rebuilding, so they wanted to give their younger guys more playing time. That's why he was DFA'd. I mean, not necessarily because he sucks. I mean, he's not great, but I think they wanted to give him a little bit more playing time. That's why he was DFA'd. So I'm not saying he's the best player in the world. He's a great defender. He doesn't hit the same way he used to, but he would be a great defender, maybe somebody off the bench, but I don't know if the Astros would do that. Robel Garcia would be somebody you could designate for assignment and clear him off the 40-man roster. But same time, you need Alex Bregman back first, and I just don't see the Astros doing that right now. So I don't think the Astros are going to go for Josh Reddick. So Astros Twitter, I think, wants him, but I just don't see that happening. And Robel Garcia is going to be on this roster. I'm sorry to say it, and probably in this lineup until everybody's healthy. And I know he's in the middle of a big slump, but I'm sorry.
Why are you apologizing? You're literally apologizing like you're the one putting him in the lineup. Guys, I'm sorry. I got to play him. Eric, Dusty's like, Eric. He's like, Eric, hey. He's like, yes, put in Robel. Okay, Robel, yeah, this is Eric getting a call from Dusty. Just like, ring, ring. Eric's like, yes, Robel Garcia fan club. I'm joking.
All right. So if Yuli's still hurt, I can bet on Robel Garcia would be in the lineup tomorrow. So unfortunately, but betting on the Astros doesn't have to be a guessing game. So if you listen to the new Locked On Bets podcast hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling, get daily picks, blowout special, wrong team favorite picks, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast brought to you by betonline.ag, wherever you get your podcasts. And I hope the Astros go ahead and get the next 3 games versus the Twins, and then we'll forget all about this game. And hopefully the Astros get some victories. And thank guys, continue subscribing to Locked On Astros podcast on YouTube. We're trying to get to 5,000, then to 10,000 subscribers. So tell a friend and tell them, tell a friend and tell them, tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. And then maybe tell a friend.
Or tell 5 other friends. A little bit easier.
No, I like my idea.
You said tell a friend, tell a friend.
It's kind of like how we intro the show with doing
Hold on. I'm getting a call. Hey, Robel. Yeah, Eric's about to be done with the show. He's going to be calling you to see how you did tonight. All right.
And with that, we'll see you on Sunday with the Locked On Astros podcast. Go Astros.